welcome to Put It All on Red. This is Roberta the Tool Lady. I have Clinton Patton, Senior. He's not new to social media, but he has so many different avenues that he's taken, and he has it. As I was sharing before we came on, has so much passion about several issues. So tonight we're gonna just talk. So that's what I'm calling. Let's talk. Feel free to inbox us or message us while we're going. If you have anything you want to talk to us about, anything you want to talk to Mr. Patton about, he's action packed, he's knowledgeable, he has so much information, not just about one area, but several areas. So he is a licensed counselor. So he's just a caregiver. So welcome, Mr. Patton. I think you're on mute. Are you on mute, Mr. Patton? I think you're on mute. You got to unmute it. Okay, we're gonna give it a 1 minute. I have several other guests that I had invited tonight because there's a lot going around. One thing is relationships, communication within relationships. Even for most of us, is even identifying relationships, right, and maintaining them. Some people think when you talk about relationships, you're thinking, oh, Roberta, you're talking about with a significant other. No, I'm talking about with everybody. So I'm talking about a relationship with everybody. I even break down relationships with when you go to the grocery store or you go to the gas station. That's a relationship. If they already know you and they're saying, oh, hey, they can recognize you by face, guess what? You got a relationship with that individual. And with that relationship, you got an opportunity. And you also, with that relationship, you've got an obligation. That's how I like to see the world, right? Because you're seeing that person and they know you. Let's see if Mr. Patton has his mic, his speaker on, if he can speak to us. Or is he logging back in? He may be logging back in. Come on, talk to me. Talk to me. I want to talk to you. I want to know what's going on. What are you up to? What are you interested in hearing? What are you interested in putting on red? Uh, you got it off mute, Clint? Is it off mute? You're still muted. We can't hear you. Let me see. Let me see if I can help him. But yeah, I want to hear what you have to talk about. Um, we have so many things that we can improve on. One of the other people that I invited tonight, along with Clint, specialize in relationships. And I had heard her speaking before, and she talked about communication. How are we communicating? And right now, you see what a barrier in communication is with Clint not being able to speak with us. And you see, it's kind of a little frustration. Um, let's see. Yes. Um, so we take a drink of water. All right. Well, audience, we'll be right back on here in a minute, okay? Um, oh, okay. All right. So we'll be back on. All right. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties. Clint, can you hear me now? Okay. I can't hear you though. Can you speak to me? I think you're still muted. All right. Well, I apologize for that, guys. We're just having some real technical difficulties tonight. Um, I don't know what it is or why we're not able to hear Mr. Patton. Let's see. All right. I think he's going to try to log out and log back in. Um, all right. And Kesha, can you hear me as well? I just want to know to make sure that I am audible, that everybody can hear me. Again, I just labeled this one. This show is Let's Talk. I just wanted to talk because you know what, we have so many issues as far as communication, so many issues as far as relationships. I also have a young lady who is going to be on here in a little bit, and she's going to be talking about uh, uh, pregnancy among youth. So, just wanting to say, one of you all just to check in. Let me know what you're talking about. What you have on your mind.
Can you hear me
All
now?
right. Welcome back, Clint.
You can hear me?
I can. Welcome.
Oh, all right, finally. Man.
So so let's get it started.
Yeah.
Okay. So welcome back, Mr. Patton. As I told you, were making me sweat a little bit in this throat.
Man.
I had to drink a little water. I was like, okay, so now I may have to do the whole show because I was determined. I didn't want to cancel at all. Uh,
Yeah.
but I do. I really just labeled this show tonight is just let's talk. So let's talk freely. But I do want you to tell the audience just a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself. I've already said a lot of good stuff about you, but I'm sure you got some better stuff to say about yourself.
Man, that's like hard sometimes to describe myself without sounding I don't know. So I'm Clint Patton Sr. I'm the founder of the Ashley Renee Hamilton Foundation, an organization on a mission to end domestic violence through prevention. I am also the CEO of Clinton Senior Speaks. I am an author. However, I'm working on my latest book is called Wonder Why He Calls You Bitch. Um, Understanding disrespectful behavior and knowing when to leave. I am. I mean, I could go on and on, but if you what else? I'm a educator. I teach adolescents how to start and maintain relationships. I also teach dads how to be good dads, and I teach adult couples how to start and maintain a healthy relationship as well.
Okay. Now, Mr. Patton, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? I mean, like, where you from? So we'll know, like, if we're from the same place. I know we're not, but I'm just saying.
Oh, well, I currently reside in Oklahoma City, but I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. However, I moved out here from Dallas, Texas.
Oh,
So, my book title is called Wonder Why He Calls You Bitch: Understanding Disrespectful Behavior and Knowing When to Leave.
okay. Okay. So are you saying which I live in Dallas. I'm
Mm-hmm.
from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Um so we kind of home girl and homeboys. So are you saying that maybe people don't know when it's disrespectful? Are because I've heard you say it, talk about that book a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
are you saying that maybe they people just don't know that it's disrespectful?
I'm saying that bitch is more than a word.
Okay.
Um, it is a precursor to physical and emotional violence. I recently have a video on TikTok that has 2.5 million views, which was the inspiration for me writing the book. And I said, if a man calls you a bitch, he'll kill you. And so, what I found in these type of situations is we minimize the usage of the word bitch and say that it's okay in certain aspects to where once you cross those boundaries, it's hard to maintain boundaries to where you don't have disrespectful behavior. So when you have someone who is in an abusive relationship, 9 times out of 10, they've been called a bitch first before they've been attacked. And so just today, I followed up with another video, and the question was, have you ever been called a bitch before you were assaulted? So far, that video has 2,700 views. It has 98 women who stated they have been called a bitch before they was assaulted, and it's still going. So what I've did is I've taken the analytics from TikTok and I put them into this report, which I don't have it with me now, but I put it into the report, right? And it shows that my hypothesis was that you can tell when you're about to be physically assaulted or emotionally abused if your perpetrator or your abuser is calling you a bitch as if it's your name, if it's freely, or it's always, it's an indicator that violence is about to happen.
Okay. So
It goes both ways.
mhm. Okay. So you're saying it's a possibility that it'll elevate some more. It'll elevate physically.
It's going to elevate the physical.
Okay.
By the time
Okay.
somebody's calling you a bitch, they don't have no respect for you, and so they're not going to respect your life, and they will be willing to take it because they're, they use the word bitch to fear to create fear.
Mhm. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, can I ask you this?
Uh huh.
What if because I mean I have a guest that I wanted to come on with us that works with youth, but what if that's what my mom and dad calls me?
Well, see,
Or
I
my
have also I've taken every scenario that you can imagine that people would use the word bitch.
mhm.
If you're listening to your parents use it, you feel like it's okay.
Mhm.
There are instances where people don't report that their parents are physically abusive following those words. And I'm not just stating that it's got to be a significant other relationship, but it could be mom and son,
Okay.
dad and daughter. It could be, they use the word way too much, and it's not something that, when you think about somebody calling you a bitch, it makes you want to fight. It makes you feel aggressive. It makes you feel disrespected. So when an abuser uses it, there has been so many instances where they state the words, bitch, I'll kill you.
Mm.
Think about that.
Yeah.
They'll state those words, bitch, I'll kill you. And what makes it true for me is that the person that killed my sister told her those same exact words and he ended up killing her.
Mhm. Mhm.
So this is not just a word. And I know people don't want to hear it because it was something we used to. We didn't put it in our rap songs.
Right.
We use it when you homegirls. That's my bitch. Like,
Bitch. That's
no, you don't talk to your friends like that.
mm-mm.
That is disrespectful. Even when we're playing sports, the one you could call us anything in the world, and we'll like shake it off or whatever. But you call somebody a bitch, they ready to fight you. And if they're ready to fight you, they feeling disrespected, so they willing to go hard to hurt you.
Mhm.
Abusers use the word bitch when they driving.
Mhm.
They use the word bitch when they want to scare you.
Mhm.
When they drinking and use the word bitch,
Mhm.
this is dangerous. There are several instances where using the word bitch will cost you your life.
Mhm.
And it's also emotionally abusive.
Mhm.
Nobody like to be called a bitch from the person that they supposed to love. They're supposed to love them. It's disappointing. It
Yeah.
is degrading. But how can I call you a bitch and then turn around and say that I love you? So this book, Wonder Why He Calls You Bitch, is made for those who may be in a relationship and stuck by a person that's called a person by a person who has been calling you a bitch, and
Yeah.
you feel stuck and you need to learn how to a way out, learn a way out.
Mhm.
So I'm in the second phases of editing. I'm pushing to get it done by the middle of May. I am self-publishing this. Also, I'm working on. I have 6 children's books, and they're for third graders and above. I am teaching them through the lens of a father-daughter relationship how to start and maintain a healthy relationship. We often overlook our elementary kids because we feel like they may not understand. But reading starts at the third grade. I'm going to start teaching them how to have healthy relationships at the third grade.
Yeah,
But so even that type of stuff, like teaching your kids that they don't need to use name calling to your friends.
yeah.
I don't teach elementary, but I used to practice as a therapist. I don't anymore. I have ages 5 and up. Like I have a very vast population.
Mm-hmm.
So my main thing is I had to figure out what it is that I could do to do my part to become a solution to domestic violence because there's a point in my life where I felt like I needed to get vengeance for my sister's death.
Mm-hmm.
But then I quickly realized that the most important thing that you can do to end domestic violence is to prevent it. By the time that we get to intervention, it's too late. And I don't know if y'all know, but in these grants, they only grant about 10% of the grants to prevention. And that's not just a coincidence. That's by design. They get paid more off of intervention than they do prevention.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you're already in a domestic violence relationship, it's gonna cost $4.1 million a year for medical expenses and stuff like that. Losing wages at your job, they ain't gotta pay you. The job keep that money. It's all
Mm-hmm.
about money.
Right.
There, domestic violence is 100% preventable.
Okay. Okay. Now, um, I understand you with communication. I think about
Hmm.
when I think about the word bitch is
Uh-huh.
dehumanizing something
Yes,
because because it's not bitch does not mean human.
it
And
doesn't.
and often we do that in our dehumanize each other, and we do get words, and we accept okay. Did you understand what I was saying?
You was cutting in and out.
Okay, I apologize. I was saying to say it again that it's not acceptable to be called out your name. It's not
No,
acceptable.
because oh my bad. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, I was just saying it's not acceptable to be called an animal. It's not acceptable to be called, hoes, bitches, and
Mhm.
even for men, bastards. We have all kind of ugly names that some people it's household names. If we're honest about it, because you can be
So
around.
the word bitch was meant for dogs who were in heat.
Correct.
And so the issue is that you have people who are abusive, manipulative, and they gaslight and stuff like that. You have them taking this turn and demeaning another person's child, regardless of how old you are. You're demeaning somebody else's child because you've been called the same thing, or you are choosing to use that term to be dehumanizing because you want power and control. See, the word bitches does not define a woman. The word bitch does not just define a man because you have women, they use the term bitch ass N word when they want to degrade a man or emasculate a man. So that's probably going to be one of my next topics. My next book is to write about why they use those terminology. But I can, to short to say this, they use it because they, again, they want to create fear. They want to create, provoke, and that's what men do too. When they call you a bitch, they want to provoke a response from you because they've told you that you're crazy. So now, when they provoke their response and you defend yourself, now it's reactive, and now it's like, oh, see, I told you that you were crazy. I told you you was a crazy bitch.
Right, right.
See, and then it ain't. It's the variations of it. Calling a woman a crazy bitch is something that does not need to take place because again, you're speaking to somebody else's child like that, somebody else's friend, somebody else's cousin. Because people don't understand that words are extremely dangerous if they are used in the wrong way.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? At the end of
Yeah.
the day, like the goal is a lot of a lot of our relationships fail because of the choice of words and the way that we choose to use the words.
Yes. I agree. But I think some words we probably shouldn't even have in our vocabulary. But
Yeah.
again, like I said, some words have been taken and they've been continued to use in certain families, in certain communities, and they are not helpful because again they dehumanize, and we wonder, not only to domestic violence, but
Mhm.
violence period. We
Right.
wonder how you can shoot one of your friends down, or one of your old classmates down, or somebody you used to know. How can you shoot them? Well, the reason why you can do it is because you programmed your mind that person's not human from what the words you've labeled.
People
uh
that use those type of words don't even love themselves. They don't even value their own life.
right,
And they don't value their own life when they live in environments that are filled with violence, including whoopings. I don't know how many times I got to say that, like, whoopings should not be considered discipline. It should not be considered discipline. You know what I mean? And I say that because if you're hitting on a kid, you're teaching them that in order to get my way, or if I make a mistake, I need to be hit, or I need to hit somebody.
wow,
And
yes,
people will, and just because we have been doing it for centuries, it doesn't mean that it's right. It
right,
does not mean that it is effective. If whooping was effective, you will have you wouldn't have a prison full of people because they would have got that whooping for the first time and they wouldn't want to get the whooping again and they would stop doing it.
right,
Whoopings does not change behavior. If it did, you wouldn't have to give multiple whoopings.
right, right,
However, what works in changing behavior is healthy relationships that are rooted in positive reinforcement.
yeah,
Positive reinforcement is when you are consistently pointing out the behaviors that you want to see in your child or even in your significant other, because we're all human beings. Name calling should never be a part of a relationship.
right.
Never.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's true. Yeah, because it is. It's hard. It's hard to take someone sincerely if they've cursed you out, and then you
Yeah.
turn around and say, "Hey, I love you."
Yeah.
That when does that happen?
Because
Or how? Yeah. Go ahead.
love doesn't hurt. And all they can, and it's crazy how you have people defending this, like, right? If I said that love doesn't hurt, they'll say, well, I love my kids. So how can I say that I love my kids if I'm not creative enough to foster a relationship with them that's healthy and guiding as a sensei, but I can whoop them to get them to do what I need them to do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they still might not do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, so at the end of the day, we have to stop being so, I don't really want to say lazy, but sometimes we're lazy parents. And we think that whoopings is gonna get to where we need to go, right? And
Right.
it doesn't work. And it
Right.
goes back to words.
Right.
Words. The research that I've done in reference to the word bitch has really been eye opening. And to see that there's over 2.5 million women, was 91% on my video is women, 8% men. You got 91% of 2.5 million people, women, that have been called a bitch.
Yeah.
And right before they've been assaulted by the person who has told them and lied to them about loving them, because that person does not know what love is. There's a difference between lust and love.
Correct. Correct.
And that's where our little girls are lost, because now daddy is absent emotionally. I ain't even talking about the present absent, because you can be present physically, but you don't talk to your daughter. You don't play with your daughter. You don't teach her things that she needs to know. And you wonder why she's out here searching for love in men who don't love themselves. And
Right.
then now we got to have counseling and systems in place to try to fix something that should have never happened in the first place. You have
Right.
little boys who think it's okay to hit on girls because that's they used to say that means you like them. So we're teaching our kids that a boy likes you if he hits on you. That is
Right.
confusing. That has nothing to do with like, nor does it have anything to do with love.
Anything that hurts, correct?
Right. Love doesn't hurt. And if it is,
Yeah.
if you feel like love hurts, it's not love, it's disappointment.
Right. It is.
Disappointment
Yes.
hurts.
Now, with saying that, with let's go into the teenage pregnancy
Okay.
topic. Because, by the way, I was a teenage mom. So that's why I really wish that the lady with the foundation for the teenagers would have had been able to join us tonight, because that is part of my heart as well. And you said because you don't know love. I'm also a book writer, and I write about that, not knowing what love is
Mm-hmm.
because of the disfranchise of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying that I wasn't loved, but for me not recognizing what love is and not
You cutting in and out. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear
is
you.
because,
Oh, there it is.
okay. All right, thank you. I was saying it's not because I wasn't loved. It was because I didn't know what love was and I was wanting to create love.
Here's the
And that
thing.
is
Oh, my bad. I cut you off.
yes, you did. But that's
Sorry,
the
man.
craziest. Now that I realize that, that's the craziest thing to want to create love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because God has already created love. So
Mm-hmm.
why would I take Roberta's understanding of love and try to implement it in my life and other people's life? That's kind of reckless, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead and go and give your side
I'm
of it.
listening. Go. You got some. Come on.
Okay. No, I was just saying that that's really reckless. That's just
But
me
it's
being genuine and
no. It's
saying
not.
that
Listen. It's not that you were being reckless. So
uh-huh.
when a young lady becomes pregnant, when she starts to engage with a young man who has led her to believe that he loves her, is because she's running from an environment that is not loving. She is running from an environment that is not learning, nor is it conducive to her learning to love herself. So she seeks outside things to make her feel loved. And that's where you get this, oh, if I have a baby, the baby's going to love me and I won't have to worry about nobody leaving me because these type of pregnant teenagers, they have a fear of abandonment. They're afraid of being rejected, and they feel like if I have a baby, then this person will never leave me. But see, that's where we as a community have to come together and really teach our kids what it's like to be loved by loving them and placing them in environments that filled with love. And I'm not saying that they're not going to make mistakes, but we still have to love them through those mistakes. And love is correction. That's what happened. It's in Proverbs, I think it's verse 13. Love is correction. There's not, it didn't say love is me whooping you with the belt. Love is me talking to you. Love is me speaking life into you. You know what I mean? Because words, there is power in the tongue. There is life or death in the tongue. And that just simply means that, yes, I can have a child. Even as a mom, you can give birth to a child. But that doesn't mean that you give that child life. You give that child life when you have a life and you fill that life with love and you give that love to that child. We wouldn't have so many teen pregnancies if our kids got the proper amount of attention and love and not making them afraid of coming to us to talk to us about things that are detrimental to their life.
Right, right. And I think so, that is abandonment is a big one with me. So that
Yeah.
has always been one of my situations that I always deal with is abandonment. But it did take me a long time. I was like, whoa, you know what? Maybe I didn't know what love was, and that is an issue that I see, and I know is not materialistic, and I think our audience needs to understand that, especially young moms and even moms, period. Because I hear them say, I bought them this, I bought them that. That's not love. Love is taking that time with that child and nurturing that child. It has nothing to do with the material stuff. You're only teaching them a behavior at that point. What do you think?
So to me, God is love, right?
Hmm.
And if you understand that you are made in God's image and what that really means, then you don't have to be taught about love because it's in you. Your love is when you grant people grace who may not need grace, but you grant it to them anyway. Grace is love. When someone make a mistake, you don't jump down their throat. You try to understand them. That's grace. Grace is
Right,
love. Giving
right,
yourself grace. How do you love yourself? You give yourself grace. You know you're gonna make mistakes. You're not gonna do things right. You give yourself grace. And that will mean that you are made in God's image. And if you're made in God's image, you know that you love yourself because you love yourself. You don't, nobody has to tell you how to love yourself because you know that you are made in God's image and God grants grace to you. So why not grant grace to your kids and to people who may have wronged you? Because at the end of the day, if grace is sufficient, we won't have relationship problems like that. We're not going to have perfection because we're different people and no one was designed to be alone. And because we was not designed to be alone, God designed us to give each other grace.
yeah, yeah. And I agree with that. I agree with
She was
that. But
22.
But the thing is, a lot of people, Clint, are not even ready to give. A lot of people can't even look themselves in the mirror. A
because they
lot of
could.
people
Mhm.
can't even give themselves any grace.
Mhm.
So, what would you say to that person? Because I mean, I get that now.
So
And I, but what would you give to that person? What would you say to that person?
I'm going to give you a story. I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. So my at 6 years old, I was almost murdered by my sister's dad. Okay, so um, February the 3rd, my niece passed away, and I ended up going to Mississippi, and it was my sister's dad. So my sister's dad came to my mama's house in Mississippi, and I took my kids and I went down there, and so I made it to my mom's house. We slept in the hotel night, and the next morning I got up, took my kids, went to my mom's house or whatever, and my sister's dad was sitting there, and I looked at him and I said, I looked at him and I was just like, "What up? What's up?" or whatever, right? So the day of the funeral, I talked about grace and how we need to watch what we say to others and how words hurt and how there's power, life and death in the tongue. And so we got back to the house. It's been 37 years since I seen this man, right? So he reached up and he grabbed my hand and he said, "You know what? I'm really proud of you." He said, He said, "I knew you would be a good dude, but not this good of a dude, right?" So I sat
Mhm.
down next to him and I said, "It's awkward, huh? You feeling anxious, huh?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, listen." I said, "Yes." He said, "I never meant to hurt you." He said, "I was just trying to be a good father figure to you." I said, "You know what? I um I forgave you a long time ago. I don't have any ill feelings against you. I don't feel like I need to do anything. I don't have you ain't never got to worry about that." And I said, "By the way, I think you should probably stop carrying that burden because it's not bothering me." And I said the only reason that I bring up the story is that we have to do things different. And I know your father may have beat you like that to get you in line, but we have to do better. So I take the story and it made me a better father, even though it was unfortunate. And so that then taught me how graceful I am as a person. You have someone who could have stopped me from being who I am today because they were taught that it was okay to beat a kid that's not his. And
Mhm.
yet God said, "Don't worry. Don't worry. You don't have any business being upset because I didn't make you like that. You made in my image, and you know that I am love. So you have to love, even though it could have taken your life, but it didn't. You're still
Yeah.
here." And that's what I
Yeah.
told myself. I'm still here. I don't have any type of ill feelings. So for someone who's afraid to give themselves grace, I'm going to ask you today to remove the shackles from your mind. You are in a box, and that box is lonely, is depression, is anxiety, is PTSD, it is death. The way
Yes.
that I've become graceful is I realize that I am human, and regardless if I am a man or not, I have emotions, and I've learned that it's absolutely okay to feel sad and admit that you're sad. It's absolutely okay to feel depressed or disappointed and admitting that as a man. And
Yes.
I can't worry about how someone perceives how I feel. And that right there allowed me to be comfortable in making mistakes and taking the things in my life. the trauma in my life and turning them into triumph because I learned from every experience that I experienced in life moving forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's ironic you say that. I noticed some changes with you, even this little time, and I know we're
Hmm.
virtual, but I even noticed some subtle, even in how you speak. Your speech is even softer. So
Uh,
I'm glad that you got to experience that, and because I'm glad that some of that is gone away from you, because that's very painful. People usually, they feel like if I hold on to a vendetta, or if I hold on, to how I'm gonna get them back, that's gonna make me feel better, and all the time that they're holding on and waiting, they're it's almost like you say in shackles, or they are it put up under pressure themselves, and it's painful, and like you said, it's isolation, it's hurt, it's depression, possibly hypertension, because
it,
we
it-
internalize all of that,
it's
and
suicidal.
and suicidal, yeah, and sabotage. That's where we get self-sabotage and just
Hmm.
not liking yourself. So I'm glad you got to experience that. And I know it probably was a long time coming, but I'm very happy that you got to experience that, because I believe this is going to be a new book for you. I believe you're on
Yeah,
a new. Yeah, I think this is a new book for you.
sometimes you got to get out of your own way. And what advice would you give to a young man or young woman that's in a relationship with someone? If they are in a relationship with someone, I would give them the advice. You have to remember that your family loves you, and you should think about every person in your family that will feel the hurt of if anything happened to you. Because even though my sister passed away in 2007, every day feels like it happened yesterday. Like it feels like that. Like sometimes it never get better, but some days are better than others. And it's a healing process. So if you know somebody or you're in a relationship like that, first of all, you deserve so much better. A person that loves you is not going to hurt you. There are times in relationships when we have our expectations and they're unrealistic to where our partner can disappoint us. However, we have to understand that they too are human. Regardless of gender, nobody deserves to be abused in no way, shape, or form. So, one thing I would recommend is to start to improve the relationship that you're in. You can either leave or stop name calling.
Yes.
Listen to how simple that is.
Yeah.
Stop name calling in your relationship. And if
Yes.
someone is calling you out of your name, you know that person does not love you. And you should gradually create distance because what I was going to say is pregnant women are at a significant high risk of being hurt and killed when leaving
They
an
are.
abusive relationship.
They are. Yes.
Yes.
And we don't have a lot of time, but I always teach that the prenatal care is not just for the woman. That
Yeah.
man also needs some help too, because he goes through some mental stuff as well. Our society don't talk about that. So
Mm-mm.
that man is also getting ready for that obligation of being a father, and if he's
Right.
not ready, or he said he's not ready, or he said I don't want this child, and because of whatever relationship it is, it's kind of a forced one, and you're thinking, oh yeah, he's gonna love this baby when he gets here, and that's not how it happens. And that is why pregnant women are more at risk, and a lot of them do, some a lot of times it ends up in death, because that man is really going through a whole lot mentally, as far as coming to the reality. I'm going to be a father,
A
and I
lot
don't
of
want to be a
men,
father.
a lot of men make excuses when they don't want to be accountable. I knew that I had kids on the way. It wasn't never a, oh my God, what I'm gonna do. It was, I'm about to have a kid. Like, come on, man, I'm gonna have little me. And I was happy about that. You know what I'm saying? So we have to quit making pregnancy a bad thing as if it's like so bad. I understand we want our kids to be mature and to be adults when they can make that decision. That's exactly, I get that. But we have to stop making it seem like it's not a natural process in life because it is. It
Yes.
is a natural process in life. So when you start to look at something that it's supposed to be, it's like, oh, it's not bad at all. Or yes, it gets stressful. It does. You're gonna get it's stressful because now you got a whole human being that you have to look out for. But it's a beautiful thing to look at that little human being and that human being looking back at you. You like, that's my daddy. My daddy is here. Like I love my daddy. You like, or you hear your kids saying stuff that you taught them. And that when that happens, you know daddy been present. You know daddy been talking to him. You know daddy been teaching. You know daddy been a sensei. Daddy been making sure that they understand that they too are made in God's image. So my kids know that they need to go love somebody. My kids, my daughter knows that it's not okay for you to hit a boy or nothing like that. You're supposed to love him too. My daughter knows that at 5 years of age. I'm
Yes.
starting early. Like, no, you can't put your hands on nobody kid because they
Yes.
have parents too. My
Yes.
son, he knows that if anybody puts it, a girl put her hands on him, we are prosecuting to the full extent of the law. Keep your hands to yourself.
Right.
Give me the
Right.
book, Judge. I throw it at her.
It go both ways. It goes
Yes,
both ways. It does. Well,
relationships. Go ahead.
well, our hour has ended. I'll be having Mr. Patton back again.
Yes,
We'll be
ma'am.
getting some updates on that new book. I appreciate his time tonight.
Yes,
I'm gonna try to get the other young lady on here with us, so
yes,
we can discuss some of the other topics. I want to say thank you for joining us on Put It All on Red. Hopefully that you discovered some kind of nuggets to discover yourself, to love yourself, as Mr. Patton said. You know, your love got to start with you. So start
yeah.
loving that person that you are. And Mr. Patton, you want to say something before we leave out?
Oh, you know what? The only thing that I'm gonna say is just remember to first grant yourself grace. You gotta love yourself first before you could even understand or know when a person loves you. Grace is uh, the most important thing that you can offer yourself so that you know when to give grace to other people because at the end of the day we are in this thing together and we do not have to have a community of violence or community of unhealthy relationships. It's going to start with us working together to make sure that we are graceful towards each other. And remember this, there is life and death in the tongue, and you also need to remember that there is no fear in love, for perfect love casts out all fear. So that means that you can't be afraid of yourself and love someone else because fear involves torment. Love has nothing to do with being tormented. There is no fear in love, for perfect love casts out all fear. And you want to be sure that you're speaking life. You don't have to get mad when you disagree. You can respect each other even when you disagree. And that is my spiel.
All right, all right. Well, good night. Love you all. Follow us on all social media. Clinton Patton is on, as he said, TikTok. He's on
Clinton
Facebook.
Senior Spinks. Clinton Senior
Um,
Speaks. Clinton Senior, that's SR. Speaks. Clinton Senior Speaks on every platform.
And I'm Roberta the Tool Lady, and I'm also on YouTube. So if you join my channel as well, thank you and good night and
Good
love.
night.
Thank you.
There's a sparkle in your eyes. I feel the warmth of your skin.